everybody, my name is Von and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon is kung paano maghanap ng bahay or how to find a flat or accommodation here in the UK or maybe here in London. What are the tips that you should consider when you are looking for a house? If you are interested to this video, watch this.
Hold up.
Today's topic is all about finding a house, an accommodation, or a flat here in the UK. Look for a house or an accommodation that is convenient for you in terms of distance from work and distance from amenities and facilities. The main goal of choosing a house is to be close to wherever you work. You are so tired after work, so you don't want to spend most of your time traveling and commuting.
Kasi gusto mong makasave ng pera at the same time makasave din ng energy.
And not only that, you also have to consider amenities and facilities nearby your prospect accommodation or house, because you don't want your house to be so far away from the supermarket, from the hospital, from the transport, from the bus stops. So you always have to consider that one because it might affect how you would live your life here in London or anywhere else in the UK. Check available mode of transports. So here in London, say for example, you have underground, overground, railways, bus stations, and of course bus numbers on the bus station. It is also important for you to know what are the mode of transport that can get you from work to home or any other facilities or amenities. Kapag masyadong malayo sa ospital or sa pinagtatrabahuan mo or masyadong malayo sa mga amenities, it would be very costly.
First, again, you wanted to save money. Also save your time going to work, because if you have to change from one bus to another bus and then change from another railway or change to a tube to an overground, it's very complex for you. Sometimes may mga delays pa yan.
Yes.
So you have to consider your time going to work. You have to wake up very early in the morning in order for you to go to work and not to be late. Also, if you are to ask me, I would just want a home that is very near to the work if there is only like, let's say, one bus exchange or like one tube exchange.
Yeah, malapit ka nga sa bus station or malapit ka nga sa train station pero multiple transfers na gawin mo and long travels, that is also not very practical.
Yeah, maubos din ang oras mo doon.
You also have to consider what suits you best. It's either solo flat, one or multiple bedroom house, with or without a garden, shared house, or dorm type.
Yeah.
So it depends on what type of person you are. If you are a kind of a person na you want to have housemates, then bagay sa'yo yung shared house or you with housemates. But if you are a type of person na medyo private at ayaw mo ng medyo magulo, you can have a solo flat or room of your own. There are a lot of stories as well na nagsimula sila ng marami silang housemates and then at the end of the year, gusto nilang maghiwa-hiwalay because they realize na gusto pala nilang magsulong.
I have so much experience in terms of living in different types of flats here in the UK. So I tried living with other 4 housemates before on my first accommodation. Second, I used to live with another housemate, so it's like a double room flat. And then now I'm living in a studio flat. A very main problem there is, if you really are with other people, is actually your privacy, at the same time different personalities. So doon talaga kayo magkakatalo. At the same time, you also have to consider your budget. Now, if you wanted privacy and then you don't have a budget, you have to have a balance of both. Pwede naman sigurong may kasama ako, but this person should have the same character or personality as with me para hindi kayo magka-problema if you are short on budget. Now, if you wanted some privacy and then you have a budget, well, good for you, because you can have a solo flat or you can have a studio flat for yourself.
The next tip will be, know the type of energy provider. Is it either contracted, pay as you go, top-up meters, or all bills inclusive? So these are like, there are some accommodations that you have to pay your own bill. There are also accommodations that the bills are already included with the rent. So isahang bayad mo na lang, hindi separate ang mga payment.
Based on my experience currently, the studio flat that I'm living in, all-inclusive. So the benefit naman of all-inclusive is that at least wala kang limit in terms of the usage of your electricity, in terms of the usage of the water, because if you are with other options in presented by Von na contracted siya or top up, then or fixed, then you have to actually be very aware of your consumption. Again, it boils down to budget. Now, you have to really consider this one when you're searching for your home because others might have actually very cheap rent, but the utilities do naman babawiin because of the usage or because of how much your consumption is in terms of water and electricity. Kasi ito pa naman, these are basics. You always need this every single day. Lalo pa dito sa London na tayong mga Filipinos, we're not so used to very cold. So heating, we normally use heating most of the time. And you have to be very careful kasi sa heating naman, if this is one of the costs wherein you're gonna overspend in terms of your rent plus your utilities. So you have to be very, very sensitive about this one.
Yeah, all the informations, you would also know that before you sign the contract because the provider or the agency that leases or rents the house would also inform you what type of contract that is applicable on that accommodation. So you have to ask that before you sign the contract. Try to find a house and determine if you want it furnished or unfurnished. If you are searching for an accommodation or house that is for rent, you have to be sure if the house offered is furnished or unfurnished. What do you mean by that? Furnished, it means that there are some basic furnitures already included. So you don't have to bring all your sofas, your dining sets, your bed. But unfurnished, it's a totally empty house. Oh, just the basic fixtures, but other else, there's none.
So if you are to ask me which one I would prefer, furnished or unfurnished, of course, I would prefer a furnished accommodation or a flat. Because by the time that you transfer to this accommodation, at least hindi mo na problemahin ang lamesa, ang kama na upuan, kama, all these things inside the house. Lalo na kapag baguhan ka dito, it's so difficult if you arrive into a home that is empty. So it's added stress to you because you still need to buy all of this stuff. And the thing is, you don't own this house. You don't want to invest so much on something that you don't own. Unless if it's really mortgaged and then you own the property, then you can actually splurge yourself to invest on these things because you own the property. Yeah. Now, if not, you have to like consider again your budget.
But the bad side of the furnished accommodation, it is sometimes much more expensive than unfurnished. So if you prefer the unfurnished, you can also find cheaper furnitures or fixtures in Facebook or anywhere else in online markets. They might offer you, or some other Filipinos or other housemates might donate some of their old furniture. So it really depends on your budget as well, as Ken said, and how you would want to design your house. Alright, so when you also have to find an accommodation or a house, either here in the UK, anywhere else in the UK or London, you also have to know whether that accommodation or house is under an agency or a letting agency or a private landlord. Because number one, agencies also have their administration fees, while the private landlords also, when you deal with it, you would also deal directly to the private landlords. Anong pagkakaiba? Ibig sabihin, kapag merong problema ang bahay nyo, sometimes, if your house is under the agency would also help you to fix any problem in the house. If you are under a private landlord, if there is a problem in your house, you always directly communicate with your landlord or yung may-ari ng bahay, which sometimes mahirap because sometimes yung landlord mo is wala sa UK or hindi nandoon locally kung nasa ang area ka.
If you've got good relationship with your landlord, it would be easier to like sort out things for you guys.
Know the monthly rentals plus expected house bills on top and ask what is the last offer. Or when you look for a house and it is posted on a particular website, usually they will indicate the breakdown of expenses, the monthly rental plus the add-on bills. It means that you have a projection of your monthly expenses including all bills. So, mas maganda na hanapin nyo yung bahay na nandoon yung inclusion, mga estimate breakdowns of your monthly expenses. Ask if what is really the last price that they can give you because sometimes they can give you discounts as well. Malay mo, they can give you discounts. If they are really, really good, then they can really give you discounts. That's true. So, yeah, don't hesitate to ask. There's nothing wrong.
You have to consider what are the allowable enhancements or restrictions because most of the time, they will actually specify what are the things that you're only allowed to do so in the property.
Anong pwedeng gawin?
Yeah, so it's very, very important kasi most of the time, kung gusto nyong gawing homey yung flat nyo or kung gusto nyong gawin siyang your own and you wanted to like actually decorate or beautify your flat, know the terms and the conditions of the flat. What are the restrictions? What are the things that you're supposed to do? Yung pwede lang at saka yung mga hindi pwede. Kasi pag nagkaroon ng mga cracks ang mga walls or anything, then that will be a burden to you in terms of your expenses.
Yeah, always remember, whatever is broken in the house can be charged to you at the end of your tenancy agreement. This is really, really important because you have to check the tenancy agreement carefully, terms of contract, termination conditions, pets, and number of allowed tenants. They usually specify kung ang house ba na yan or ang accommodation, they will allow pets, they would allow multiple tenants. Say for example, you would declare that you will rent it out with your other housemates and just the two of you, and then later the next month the landlord will find out there are already 4 of you guys. You will be in trouble on that because the council is also monitoring such number of tenants.
You have to really read carefully what are the agreements and the conditions on your tenancy agreement. Kasi there are times that, you know, sometimes you have to actually like question in terms of the contract. Maybe it's like a short-term contract. Kasi minsan, nagpapasign sila muna sa inyo ng short-term contract which is good for 3 months. Just like a probationary if you really like the flat. And then after that one, they will have a recheck. And then if ever you like the flat, then they will give you a long-term contract which will last for like let's say a year. Kailangan mong tapusin ang buong contract before ka lilipat ng panibagong flat if you really want to. Or else, kung gusto mo siya i-terminate, babayaran mo ang the rest of the months until the end of the contract or the contract finishes.
Usually, it comes with a pre-check-in checklist to know what's broken or not before you moved in. Know if you need to do professional or domestic cleaning when you move out. And of course, counter-check the list. Before you move into an accommodation or a house, usually the agencies or the landlords or private landlords, they provide you with pre-check-in checklists. Right? So it means that whatever the state of the house when you move in, nakalagay na doon, nakalista na lahat. You have also to counter-check physically from against the checklist and the house. Kasi baka hindi na ilagay sa checklist na may butas na pala yung ceiling, and then at the end of your tenancy, ma-charge sa inyo na may butas ang ceiling, in which in fact, before kayo lumipat, may butas na yung ceiling, if you know what I mean. So, always have to check and recheck all the checklists.
There will be viewing, so mag-viewing pa kayo yan sa flat that you really want to. So during the viewing time, you have to like really check all areas or all sides of the flat. If there are sides that are broken, meron bang mga kailangang pinturahan na walls, meron bang mga tulo yung mga faucet nila or yung mga tap, may sira ba yung mga lights nila or there are like busted lights. All these things you have to like actually point out or raise even before you live on the flat so that it will be addressed quickly and urgently.
Alright, so that concludes our vlog for today. I hope you learned at sana meron kayong natutunan at nagustuhan nyo yung vlog namin. Hopefully, you learned something on the tips that we discussed, and hopefully it will help you when you find your own flat or house here in London or anywhere else in the UK. Anyway, maraming salamat guys. Don't forget to subscribe to my friend's channel.
Yeah, it can be your adventures to get hold of my life here in London and anywhere else in the world. Please guys, do support our channels also with Eric Von Ferdeluces on his channel because we are on our way to continuously inspire you guys with our vlogs.
Yes, once again, maraming salamat. Thank you very much for watching and see you on the next video and adventures. Bye!